Hey everybody, it's Stalker13R, and we're gonna kick the Thursday shows off with a first game in a tank show, and we're gonna use the heavy tank number 6 from the Japanese line, and it's a premium tank, so it's something I used some of the gold I got over Christmas to get, and on the Thursday shows we're gonna cover news about upcoming events. We're gonna talk about premium tanks and when's a good time to get them, because you can get them through grinding them or as an award for participation in an event, or you can do the old-fashioned thing and buy one. And there is a time where it's good to do that. The other thing that we're going to look at on Thursdays is your overall garage strategy. By that, I'm not going to get into my garage and go through and look at the stats or look at the armor, but how I build my garage over time so that I'm prepared to compete in these events and participate. And participating in these events is a lot of fun. It adds to the reward and the experience of playing World of Tanks, and you can get some decent rewards along the way. And so having a garage that's well-rounded and prepared to allow you to participate in these events is important. So that's what I mean by garage prep, or your strategy for your garage. So I had to turn on a little bit of high speed there to deal with that T150. They finally got him tracked so that I could hit his weak spot just as I had switched over. And now, as you can see, I'm driving the new tank and I've still got it selected up, and I haven't changed over. So we'll point out when I realize that and get it switched back. But if you're turning on the high speed, turn it back off. And we're going to have another show about that where we talk about all of the premium consumables, like automatic fire extinguishers or large first aid kits or repair kits and things like that. And premium ammo is a part of that discussion. So that'll be something that's up and coming. And we'll let this, it's just a first game footage, so making an overall determination about whether we like the tank or not. This was just the first game, so we'll see how it goes. And you've all had a first game in a tank. That's a common experience to everyone, and we'll just see how it gets done so that you'll get that true feel of, hey, when I get this, what's it going to be like before I get a 12-skill crew and I get everything else, ironed out and get it up to speed and really running. So, and there I put one in the dirt. I watched a guy do that the other day, where you put one in the dirt and then pull up your radial to give the I'm on my way, so I was happy to see that I'm not the only one that does that. So we'll have a bit of fun there. But yeah, so last week, March Madness is one of the, last year, I should say, March Madness was one of the events that World of Tanks had, and I believe they're going to have it again this year. Well, in one of those weeks, they have the 4 teams or 8 teams match off, and it's 2 teams a week for 4 weeks, and then they have the final 4, and then there's some kind of final. Apparently that's a basketball thing. But last year I had Czechoslovakia and Japan face off against each other, and I wanted to participate in each week of the competition, and so I had to finish out 1 week, and I'll get back to that here in just a second, because here I'm gonna shoot a PCR at an artillery. Well, since I've got it on the reload, I'll just finish it off. But here I've switched to that HE, and we've got the appropriate ammunition loaded. So, pardon me for shooting premium at you there, whoever was driving that artillery round, or wagon, and we'll get our round switched around and get on with the gameplay here. So I had a big hole in my garage, and having a well-rounded garage, allows you to participate in a broader variety of things, and it can increase your understanding and skill as an individual tanker. So, there are a lot of benefits to rounding out that garage. As much as you have to fear the guy with one tank because he's really good with that one tank, it's going to limit your overall World of Tank options. So we HE'd the tracks off this guy, we got an AP round through the turret, and we finished off our first game at 5 kills with just over 1100 damage and a little bit of tracked assist. So is that a outstanding monumental performance? I don't go by kills as a measure of performance, because you can have low damage and high kills, or high damage and low kills. So I look at that damage, and at tier 6, you're just over 1,000 damage. That's a good game. That should be what you strive to achieve for your average. So another thing that having a well-rounded garage can do, and I did a video on mercenary tanks and mercenary contracts, and I'm not interested in getting the mercenary tanks, but what I do is I turn the contracts on, and I farm those contracts. For completing each individual stage gives you some kind of reward, and that can be premium consumables, it can be regular consumables, it can be, days of premium account time. So being able to turn them on and complete them, it just lets you get more free stuff for playing the game. And some of those stages, you'll be well prepared for, like, playing your German tanks, and you have a bunch of German tanks. But then along the way, they're going to have different requirements for completing those stages. And one of them might be playing a Japanese heavy tank, or playing any Japanese vehicle tier 5 or higher. So having something like this in the garage not only will allow you to compete in a broader range of events like the March Madness, the Tank Bowl, the Fight for Your Academy, any of those events that come along the way, it'll also allow you to complete more of those steps in the mercenary contracts as you're, even if you're not getting the tanks, if you're just farming them for free stuff. So that's the benefits of rounding out the garage, and that's why I put heavy tank number 6 in my garage. Is I've got something from the Japanese line, so should the need arise, I've got it. I'll have the crew worked up to where they're reasonable, and we'll be able to either compete in an event or complete a stage of a mercenary contract, and we'll be able to achieve those goals. So that's why I got this one, and it matches my play style. It works up really good, and I was happy to get it. So here we'll finish off some more of the gameplay. So the first game was game number 1. This is game number 2, and we're on El Haluf. It's a little bit redundant. I know we're going to get sick of this map because I did a 2-part series on this map. The first one was released last Saturday at the time of release here, first week of January, and the second one's going to be out this coming Saturday. And there's been a lot of assault on the radio lately, over the headsets about, people sitting back by the base and defending from getting cross-capped. Yet, being cross-capped across that southern part of the map seems to be more and more common. So we went back there and took a look at, are they just sitting back there doing nothing, or are they getting something done to win the game? And, they really are. So be sure to check those videos out, and you'll see some more particulars and specifics about this map. But my overall initial impression of Heavy Tank number 6 is it's a really good tier 6 tank. It's got good gun handling. It's got medium armor for a heavy tank. You're going to have to be a little careful with it, and you're going to want to be the one doing the shooting, not the one getting shot. It's got a reasonable health point pool, so you can take a couple of shots, and that's where it makes up that difference. It doesn't have the armor to stop the shot, but it's got the health point pool that you can soak it up. So we were able to put a mastery badge on this tank in the first 5 games, and it came at 2 kills, 2,000 damage, and 750 assisted, which isn't a whole lot. So that's telling you that that mastery badge is coming pretty cheap in this tank. Not a lot of people are driving them, but from my experience, it's not because it's a bad tank, because I think it's a really good tank, and I really enjoy it, and I think it would be good for people who drive mediums or heavies, especially if you're in that range where, the mediums are heavy mediums and the heavies are light heavies, so, in that medium-heavy range, and that's where a lot of my gameplay is. So this tank fit really well. At Tier 6, it's going to have the experience earn and the damage, because in a lot of these events, meeting those benchmarks is get so much damage, get so much experience. Well, if you've ground something in the tech tree real quick and you're at Tier 4 just so you can be over the line and participate in that event, you're going to have to do a lot of extra work to meet those damage benchmarks or those experience benchmarks. Whereas in something that's at least Tier 6, you're at least in a middle tier game, and you're able to get some damage and experience along the way. So for the price point and something to round out that garage, because I know a lot of people aren't into the Japanese tech tree, this is a good option if you need to fill that gap and you've got some extra Christmas cash laying around in your account. I'd highly recommend it. I guess that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Stalker13R.